Want to earn up to triple digit yields? Well, I think Trader Joe is one of the best places to do so at the moment. And today we're going to talk about how Trader Joe works, how you can use it, and how you can earn some juicy yields along the way. So let's get straight to it. I have actually talked about them on Twitter, so go and follow me there if you want to learn about it. If you're watching this on Twitter, well done. You guys are good people. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Trader Joe. So you can see on screen right now, this is Trader Joe. I'm sure many of you watching know what Trader Joe is. For those of you who don't, it is a decentralized exchange available on Arbitrum and mostly on Avalanche as well. They're available on a few other chains too. And essentially lets you swap from one asset to another, just kind of like Uniswap. However, Trader Joe have some very unique features that I think we're going to talk about today, something that makes them really stand out, and kind of talk about how that works well. So let's cover that first. Now, the first thing to note is kind of how the liquidity aspect of Trader Joe works. It is different to that of Uniswap. Now, both of them have concentrated liquidity. However, the formula that they use is slightly different. As you can imagine, on Uniswap, you have that curve-shaped graph that goes all the way down. Whereas with Trader Joe, we've got the constant sum formula, this X plus Y formula. And this is good for a number of reasons. Firstly, you can get zero slippage, and they're able to do this because of the liquidity bin model that they've got. We're going to talk about that shortly. And also, it's able to generate more fees, and we can define our price ranges a little bit more. So we've got a lot more flexibility when it comes to providing liquidity here on Trader Joe compared to that of Uniswap. A few different things that we can actually tweak and change, and create some interesting strategies too. So that's the first thing that you need to know. The liquidity model is different, and that's because they use the constant sum formula, and they have this concept called liquidity bins. Now, the best way for me to show you what liquidity bins are is to basically go on Trader Joe and show you directly itself. So let's go to the pool tab. So we are just going to pick ETH USDC because it's pretty simple. And I'm just going to enter a small amount of ETH and USDC. And look, you'll be able to see here. So this is basically how liquidity gets distributed. So rather than going like you would on Uniswap, here we've got these liquidity bins on Trader Joe where your liquidity can be distributed, and you can decide exactly and customize exactly how you want your liquidity to be distributed. Now, the active bin is going to be the one that has both of the assets in them. So this is basically where the price is trading at right now, and this is the active bin. This is where the fees are going to be earned. And as price changes, either a price goes up or down, these bins will fill and move over to the right or to the left, depending on the price action. And we can customize how we want our liquidity to be distributed across these bins, and that can give us some interesting strategies that we'll talk about shortly. So I have this image that I did create, basically just highlighting kind of the active bin and kind of how once these bins get filled, liquidity will move over to the next bin. And one of the great things about this is there's just no slippage. So within the active bin, there's no slippage whatsoever. That makes more fees and just an overall better trading experience. So I think that's one of the great things about Trader Joe. So let's talk about the different strategies that we can do. So there's three main strategies. We'll probably call them like a beginner, intermediate, and an advanced strategy. As you can see, look, the distribution changes quite a lot when we click through them. So we'll start off with the simple strategy. This is spot. This is, as you can imagine, an equal amount going across every single bin. You can decide, however, what you can decide is how concentrated you want it. Now, the more concentrated, the more risky, because if price changes a little bit, like you can see here, I've only got a $30 range here. If the price of ETH goes more than that, my liquidity is out of range. I'm not earning fees anymore. So you kind of have to monitor this a little bit more closely compared to if you were to pick, like, let's say 200 bins. It won't even do it in one transaction because there's that many bins. Then let's see what it looks like. You'll be able to visualize this yourself. So you can see with 60 bins like we've got here, liquidity is distributed across a much wider price range, and therefore you don't have to monitor it as much. However, because it's a little bit more wider, our liquidity is a little bit less concentrated, and therefore it's not going to be as capital efficient. So you got that trade-off there, really, that it's up to you to decide. However, this is the most basic type of liquidity shape, very beginner friendly, but you can still earn some very good fees with it. You still earn good yields there. I think it's just good to show you that. Next, we've got the curve shape. And the curve shape, as you can imagine, liquidity gets quite concentrated at the active price, and as we move away from the active price, it gets a little bit less concentrated, as in we have less liquidity. So if price moves away, it's not going to be very good. But if price stays around the same level, it's going to be very capital efficient. So this is a good one for those of you who are interested in that. Now, which coins do you think would be good for something like this? Well, if we want something that is stable, it's very capital efficient, obviously you can imagine stable coins. So I think if you're farming with stable coins, then I personally would be using the curve shape. I think it makes a very good way to distribute your liquidity, especially because your stable coins aren't going to fluctuate too much around the active price there. So you could have a much higher liquidity there compared to at the ends of your range there, which I think is a good model to have. So this is a very capital efficient model. And then lastly, we are going to talk about the bid-ask model. And this kind of looks a little bit like an order book. It captures volatility. So if the price is changing up and down quite a lot, you're going to capture the ends very, very good. This also lets you do interesting strategies like dollar cost averaging in and dollar cost averaging out. So for those of you who are wanting to try something like that, this is something that I think is worth looking at for sure. I will leave a link below in the description, an article from Trader Joe themselves who basically explain some of the different strategies that you can do. So maybe have a read of that, and perhaps in future we could even talk a little bit more in detail about some of these different strategies, especially the dollar cost average strategy, because that's one of my favorite ones for sure. But that's pretty much all you have to do. So once you've decided, which kind of liquidity shape, well, I mean, before you decide that, you need to decide which assets you want to provide. So let's go to the pool tab. You'll be able to see there's lots of Arbitrum altcoins supported at the moment, the likes of Pendle, Joe, Arbitrum itself, Magpie as well there, GMX of course. So you need to just decide which assets you want to supply first. As you can see, the APRs are pretty decent. We're talking triple digits across the board here. So very, very good yields. And you can see if you just hover over the rewards, you'll be able to see what the token rewards are. So in some cases it's ARB, in some cases it's kind of Joe tokens as well. So just go and have a look. And once you've decided, you pick whichever one you want, and then basically do what I did. You enter in how much of both the asset A and asset B you want to provide. You choose your shape, so whether it's the spot shape, the curve shape, or the bid-ask shape, and then you choose the number of bins, so how concentrated you want it to be. Approve, add liquidity, and that's all you need to do. You're going to start earning those trading fees. It will auto compound for you. You don't need to claim your rewards or anything like that. The rewards will just automatically auto compound into your LP. You can remove your liquidity anytime as well there. So that's pretty much how it works. You can see a lot more information here around analytics and kind of the leaderboards. You can see who's earning some good fees here and who isn't. So that's always a good thing to have a look at. And on top of that, there will be lots more Arbitrum tokens being given out over the next few months as we go into 2024. We can see in November and December, and then January we've got rewards split over 3 phases there, so lots more to come. Trader Joe is a wonderful platform, a great DEX, one that makes a lot of money just because it's very capital efficient, and I think the strategies that you can do in terms of with your liquidity are really great. So I'm a big fan of Trader Joe. I hope that this was a good educational video. If you want to see more, drop a comment down below. Perhaps we could make some more videos like this. Just let me know in the comment section below. So smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Twitter, give it a like, give it a retweet, and drop a comment down below about your thoughts too. And we'll be back with plenty more content in the near future.